I'm Alison Butler of AHS-TV, and today we're doing a spotlight on Miss A. And I guess to start off with, I know you're graduating college this year. Do you have any plans after? I know you're student teaching here. Do you plan to continue it?
Yeah, so I'm actually graduating in 2.5 weeks, and then I'm staying at IUP, and I'm getting my master's degree in food and nutrition education.
Oh, so are you wanting to do, I know you teach food and nutrition here, student teach. Are you wanting to do, exactly that class continuing, or something a little varied?
Yeah, so I'll be certified to teach, any family and consumer science classes, but I tend to like the food and nutrition aspect more. I just really love my nutrition classes. That's my second major other than nutrition, so it's just an interest field of mine.
Yeah. Do you do any outside of school? I know that I like to bake outside of school, and it kind of makes me like food. Do you have any extracurriculars that you like that kind of push that influence?
Yeah, so I've always liked to cook, and every year I make a ton of Christmas cookies. I love to bake as well, so that's kind of one of my things that I do when I have extra free time.
What kind of got you interested in cooking and pursuing this career?
So in high school, I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was little. Ever since I was in second grade, I can remember I want to be a teacher, writing that on all of my assignments and stuff when it would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I never knew what I wanted to teach, but once I got to middle school and high school and I started taking the FCS classes, it was always my favorite subject, and I just always liked the cooking aspect of it. I got interested in sewing, and then once I got to high school, my high school family and consumer science teacher was kind of my inspiration for that, and she really helped me a lot to figure out exactly what I would have to do to kind of pursue all of this and where to go and who to ask, and she's kind of stayed a mentor to me, and I still talk to her, so she's kind of been my huge influence on that.
Yeah, I know almost every kid I know has had a, I want to be a teacher phase, and most of them phase out of it, but then, some like you that keep going for it, and I see them reappear, and, they'll be in newspapers oh, this person's returning to, whatever school, and it's really nice to see that, see the cycle continue. I know you said that you still talk to this mentor teacher. Is she going to, your graduation, and do you still talk to her enough to, make plans with her?
Yeah, she teaches in my home district, obviously, so, when I go home, I shoot her a text here and there whenever I feel I want to, let her know, I sent her some of my graduation pictures and stuff, and we keep in touch with stuff like that. I'll keep her updated with all my stuff, but, yeah, I definitely, wouldn't mind, reaching out to her to, kind of hang out and catch up over lunch or something when I got home.
So I know since you're doing this, student teaching, and you're graduating this year, you must have not a lot of free time on your hands with, both of those and your own personal life. How do you kind of balance that and make time?
So a lot of my, peers that are in the program with me, they kind of tell me that I'm awesome at this because I set boundaries for myself even when I wasn't student teaching and I was just taking classes. I had a role where I would shut my computer on Friday at a certain time and I wouldn't open it up until Sunday because you kind of need that break to just reset and hang out with your friends. We would go on walks on weekends, or even if I would go home for a weekend and just kind of hang out with my roommates, have friends come up and visit me, just have a couple of days just to kind of wind down and just take that time for myself, cook dinner, not wake up and be gone all day, and kind of during the week my days they fly by so fast, so it's kind of nice to just set that boundary for myself and kind of just unwind and relax on the weekends and kind of take that time back for myself.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I have such trouble setting that kind of boundary. If I work most days of the week, so I get home after work and take a shower and go to bed. I can't do anything else. I don't know how you have time.
Yeah, I worked in high school also, but I worked with kids, so I would, go to school, and then I also played softball in high school, and I was also in choir, so I had a lot on my plate in high school as well, but same thing, I would always make sure that I, had a checklist. I had a certain amount of things I had to get done. I knew when they needed done by, and I would just you have to have a lot of self-discipline, and
Yeah.
I learned a lot more of that in college when I had my online classes, because you kind of have no choice but to force yourself to do them on your own time, along with like studying and everything else. So
Yeah.
I kind of have gotten really good at that with being in online school, and with COVID and everything. It kind of taught me like a lot of good time management. So that's one good thing that came out of that.
That is one. No, whenever we were online, totally opposite experience. It just like tanked my time management skills.
Yeah.
So it's nice that someone got,
Yeah.
that benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated high school in 2020, which
Yeah.
was like the bad year, and they kind of went easy on us towards the end of
Yeah.
it, so I didn't really have a lot of high school experience with online school, but most of my college classes, I'd say 90% of them were online. So
Yeah.
I do enjoy like coming here and being hands-on, because I didn't get a lot of that in like my undergrad experience with my actual classes. So like this is where I've been learning like everything.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, after you actually graduate and everything, and I know you said you wanted to keep teaching, do you have any kind of like plans you want to do aside from that? Maybe like different classes that you specifically would want to teach?
I've been thinking about like maybe getting a certification in like another kind of like class field, but I think that I do really want to stick with family and consumer science. I think that that's kind of like my calling. I
Yeah.
feel like comfortable doing it. I like that it's a class that the kids like and they want to
Yeah.
come to, and I don't know, it's just it's a lot different from like a gen ed class,
Yeah.
and I like that it's fun. So
Yeah. I feel like the, what's it called, electives, I feel like they're always so much more popular, and like the kids are so much more excited to take them just because it's a choice. They're
Yeah.
usually more fun to do. Like, we cook things, so you don't get to do that in other classes. You have that freedom.
yeah, I like the hands-on aspect of it, and I like that it actually teaches you how to do something. It teaches you a skill that you need to know in life,
Yeah.
and that's kind of another part of the reason why I chose this. It's because like, obviously you need every subject in school, but it's kind of fun to get like a little brain break in the day, and just kind of, you get to, sit at a table and eat with people and socialize and work together. And
Yeah.
I mean, I still follow recipes that I got from my high school teachers and middle school even. Like,
Yeah.
it sticks with you, so I like that.
Yeah, it's a nice little tidbit to carry around with you, especially like, if you really liked your teacher, you get to carry a little piece of them with you even, years later. So it's definitely a nice legacy. Do you have any plans like outside of school and your career, like anything that you would like to do, activities?
Well, I am moving back home, so that should be interesting, going back home with my parents after being away from them for 3 years. I did a year at community college at home, so I stayed with them for 1 year of college, but I haven't lived at home for 3 years, so just kind of getting like adjusted to that again, and spending more time with my parents, obviously, because I've missed them while I was gone. I'm
Yeah.
close with them, but I live in Pittsburgh, so there's tons of stuff to do. Probably go to some like Pirate games this summer,
Yeah.
hang out with my friends, since we're all kind of coming back home and stuff, but it's going to be a little bit different than what I'm used to, just because like,
It's a new thing.
yeah, it's a new thing, and I mean, I'll have more time to work out and go on walks and go fishing and hiking and do all kind of stuff, so I'm looking forward to having a little bit more free time.
Yeah, after your schedule being so jam-packed for 3-4 years, it's gonna be so weird to have that little break.
Yeah, and as soon as my student teaching's over, I'm gonna like probably feel like I have like something to do, but
Yeah.
it's just free time, so I'm gonna enjoy it though.
Yeah, there's gotta be so much you just want to do now that you have the time, so you'll have fun.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, you're student teaching now, are you planning to, whenever you are a teacher, have your own student teacher, like continue that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something I would be open to. I've had so many people who've helped me, so it's only like, I feel like I have to give back at some point.
Yeah.
Mrs. Poster has been awesome to me. She's been a great help with literally everything. I've been here since September, so
Yeah.
me and her have kind of, formed that bond since the beginning of the school year. All of my other mentors for my other placements have been awesome and a huge help, and even like I said, like my high school teachers I still keep in touch with, and everyone's just been super supportive of everything, because it is really hard to go into education, like, and it kind of has a negative light around it sometimes, so it's good to have those people that kind of look after you and help you and give you what you need. So I definitely that's definitely something that I'd be interested in doing for someone else someday.
Yeah, it's always nice, especially being brand new to the field, to have a little bit of guidance, a mentor. So like to be able to continue that legacy is it's gotta feel pretty good.
Yeah.
So I know that you had you said you had that teacher who mentored you, but before that, did you have anyone else who kind of led you into this interest of yours?
I have two really awesome parents who will support me in anything that I wish to do. Neither of my parents went to college, so I'm first generation college student in my family. My brother didn't either. So while this was a new kind of concept to them, they don't really understand what I do every day. I mean, obviously they get it. They know I'm student teaching and taking classes and everything, but they've never been in my shoes. Yeah. So for them to have never experienced this, or especially, I mean, college and student teaching are two different things too. I mean,
Definitely.
That's a whole nother, it's an internship, it's a full-time job, but they have supported me extremely during all of this. The amount of times I've called my mom and just been I want to get out of here, everything, but I truly cannot say enough about my parents. They have supported me financially, they've helped me with everything, with my loans. They're just awesome. So they've really been, all of my family has been awesome with pushing me towards this.
Yeah, I feel like that having the support of your family is such a important part of doing what you want to do and having the courage to do it. Mm-hmm. Especially not that teaching isn't a socially acceptable thing, but do something that maybe doesn't have the best pay or whatever, and have the support of people to do that, it definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you have and you said your brother and your parents didn't go to college. Mm-hmm. Do they have their own jobs that kind of influenced yours, or is it totally different?
No, not really. I don't think anyone in my family is a teacher. My one cousin works at a daycare, so mm-hmm. she kind of understands a little bit, but she doesn't have an education degree. Yeah. So this was just new to everyone mm-hmm. in my family. So I mean, my grandparents are super happy for me. Everyone's just super supportive of it. So.
Yeah. Well, that's always good to hear. Yeah. That's always an invaluable support system. Do you have other people that you want to influence specifically? I know that I feel if I was a teacher, I would have I have a couple students that I think would be really good at this. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're on the other side of the classroom, when you're a student, you kind mm-hmm. of don't notice things as much as when you're overseeing an entire class, and you can definitely tell when someone has, they gravitate towards mm-hmm. the subject, and the kids who really want to try and do their best in class, and that kind of really sticks out to you. So I mean, if that ever comes up in my classes, I definitely would recommend doing this to my students. I mean, my teachers did it for me, so mm-hmm. I would be so willing to help anyone kind of fall into this if it was something that they were interested in. Yeah.
So if someone were, to either be really good at it or even really bad at it, do you have a plan in mind? I can, help them by, encouraging them, or I can give them little tidbits. Do you have a specific plan in your mind? I feel I make weird, out of nowhere plans for absolutely nothing. I don't know. Do you do that?
I mean, I haven't really yet, just because there's mm-hmm. so much going on in the classroom already, and I just took on the full schedule, so I'm teaching all day now. So it is pretty busy, but I mean, if anyone ever wanted me to help them or give them advice, I talked to a couple of students about what I actually do go to school for, because a lot of people don't understand what family and consumer sciences is. I mean, still my parents and my grandparents and their friends and everyone, they still refer to it as home economics. So even breaking that down for people and explaining them I'm certified in this whole variety of classes and mm-hmm. stuff, and I think that it's good that you can kind of push that onto students, mm-hmm. You can teach this, or you can always test into subjects too, so encouraging them to be a teacher, and if you notice that they like something and they're passionate about it, then I would definitely be willing to help them get to where they need to be for that.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you said you just said you were certified in the whole branch of mm-hmm. Family consumers. Are you I know that there's a class that's more financially based. Mm-hmm. Do you ever plan on teaching that kind of class?
Yeah, so that would kind of depend on like what school district I end up in. So I'm certified for sewing, nutrition, interior design, like fashion, textiles. We do a little bit of finance, like the living on your own class here. They kind of dive into a little bit of like checking accounts and banking and all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm not the greatest at math. It's not like my strong suit. But I do like the finance aspect of it. I think it's super valuable. Everyone should know it. And if that opportunity were to arise, then yeah, I would definitely take that on.
Yeah. I don't know how you can handle, having gone to college and doing all of those things. I feel like it would be such a tough workload since it's such a wide variety of skills.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but it's also fun because you're not doing the same thing constantly, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's awesome how, like, we were up here, we made a whole sewing project from start to finish, and then we can just hop over to the other side of the room and just start, cooking and learning, and you have all of these different aspects to just, like, be a well-rounded person. So, like, I feel like I am more comfortable in some areas than others, just with, like, how much experience I've had with them, but I feel like I do know a decent amount about each of them, which is, like, kind of cool to look back upon, and you're like, oh, like, I actually do know my stuff, I have all of this knowledge, and it's a good time.
Yeah, and I feel like since you have, since the field is so varied, there's something for everyone, and it kind of holds everyone's interest, especially as a student. If you're bored with the money, you can go to cooking. If you're bored with the cooking, you can go to sewing. So it definitely has something for everyone. And I think a lot of kids value that about the course.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, you can tell which kids favor, which subjects more, and that's fine. And, not everything is going to be everyone's cup of tea, which is the nice and the hard part about teaching, because you kind of have to make sure that everything is engaging enough for everyone to at least want to, try it out. But, like, with the cooking and sewing stuff, it's so hands-on, and, like, you actually get a finished product out of it, so I think that kind of keeps the kids motivated to stay engaged with stuff that, even if they're not, like, totally excited about it, maybe they can at least say, like, oh, I did it, I tried it,
interesting.
now I know.
Yeah, I feel like having something, like, a physical accomplishment from it, whether it's, like we made aprons a couple years ago, or whether it's, you made a dish. I feel like just having that actual, like, piece of achievement is really valuable to kids. It keeps them kind of motivated for it, whereas if you, in math or reading, you kind of just get a piece of information that goes in your brain.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that stuff sticks with you too, but I mean, I made a drawstring bag in my 8th grade sewing class, and I still have it to this day. I know where it's at. Like, I remember making it, I have that with me, and, like, obviously now I still have those skills that I carry with me, so it's just fun to have that stuff.
Yeah, and it's all very valuable skills. It's not something that you're just going to, like, throw out the window once you graduate. You kind of need to know how to cook, and, if you lose a button off your shirt, you need to know how to do that, how to fix it.
Right.
So it's all something that you're going to use later in life, which is something that all kids should have to learn.
Yeah, like, I mean, my roommates, they'll, like, rip something or button will fall off, and they'll be like, can you sew this for me? And I like that I could be like, I actually, can do that. And it's not like I always need someone to, like, do something for me, It's nice to have those skills that you can take on those tasks by yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like it's also kind of like for kids to have, who maybe don't know a whole lot of, like, life skills, to be able to just have that feeling of achievement when they do something. Yeah. It's definitely a motivating factor for them to be able to just say, like, oh, I did this by myself.
And I mean, not everyone has, the best support systems at home, and someone might not sit you down and say, like, this is how you cook a meal from start to finish, or this is how you sew a button, or this is how you balance your checkbook. So it's kind of nice to, like, be that person in their life to push them to know all of those things that they will need to know someday on their own. Yeah,
and, like, my parents have always, been very good with teaching me how to do that. So, like, for me, the family consumer classes, they haven't always really been, like, necessary, just because I knew most of what we were doing. But then I'll see other kids in the class struggling with what I've known since I was, like, 8. So it's kind of, like, eye-opening even for other students, just to see, the different the different, like, realities that people have. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, even, like, kids I've met in college, I mean, they don't know how to do their laundry. They don't cook themselves meals, and it's like, well, at this point, when are you going to learn that? You know what I mean? So I'm glad that, like, I kind of came equipped with that, and now I can pass that on to other people so that they have that.
It's definitely. That's all the time we have today, folks. This is AHS Spotlight. Thanks for coming.